Well, I think each of us has, in the advisory board has a little bit of a different prism through which we see this. I think first, we each come from a different component institution of the UT system. And so my viewpoint is through the Houston trauma ecosystem, which is obviously a civilian trauma system, one of the largest in the state and country. And my perspective on that is also colored a little bit by the fact that I'm a pediatric surgeon and run the pediatric trauma program, which, believe it or not, is also ends up being part of the military trauma mission, whether we like it or not. And so secondary overlay from my perspective is that formerly I was a surgeon in a forward surgical team in the 82nd Airborne Division in the Army that deployed to Afghanistan, so that I have this secondary perspective from not from an administrative military medical perspective or a logistics military medical perspective, but as a end user of military medical products, if you will, or doctrine, if you will, so that I have that perspective of really how something goes from the administrative research, product development, all the way kind of pushed down through the chain to an end user. And I've also been within the UT's some UT something since 1980, and so I got a pretty good sense of how the component institutions work, and having been either employed, a student, a faculty, or something at numerous ones over the years. I think one type of partnership that is critical for us is to link with industry partners, small and large, to take discovery to therapeutics. In Department of Defense contracting world, that's called TRL levels, therapeutic readiness levels, or technology readiness levels. And that's from 1 to 10, and 10 is like the thing is hanging on the shelf, and 1 is like it's an idea in my head in the shower. And what we need to do is accelerate that technology readiness level to where we can deliver something that is real, it's useful, and it's beneficial for combat casualty care management. So, and one of the reasons that's important is it's also really easy to articulate, right? It's really easy to go, we just developed this new medication that when you're really bleeding badly, that when we give it, the bleeding stops. Wow. It's really easy to articulate that here's this thing that I just built that when you fractured your leg and I put it over your leg, it immediately prevents invasive infections, and it enhances blood flow to your extremity before you get to definitive care. And you show somebody that. It's really easy to articulate. I'm excited about the precision medicine space. If you think about why cancer therapeutics are so far ahead of every other area medicine. It's because they have tackled or are tackling this heterogeneity problem in what we in medicine have historically called a disease, right? We'll say, oh, well, you have, in oncology, say, oh, well, you have, it used to be that we just say, oh, you had lymphoma. Now they say, you have, this cell type with these mutations, with this cell surface marker, and this, it takes what used to be lumped together as lymphoma, and now it's 30 different things. And so they've been able to very, very precisely define in terms of the genomics, the metabolomics, the proteomics, the phenotype of that, so that very, very specific and targeted precision therapeutics are able to tackle those diseases, and they're having these incredible successes. A friend of mine who had stage 4 lung cancer, never smoked a day in his life, stage 4 lung cancer, started on a new immunotherapeutic 10 years ago. He would have been dead in 3 to 6 months. It's been 5 years, no evidence of disease. In trauma, we have the same thing. Oh, you come in, you've had a head injury, traumatic brain injury, we kind of lump them together as mild, moderate, severe. And the reality is that there's this wildly different injury heterogeneity, but also there's this background of genomic heterogeneity that impacts the response to that disease. So if we can figure out that the reason why you both hit your head the exact same way and one of you's in a coma and the other guy is fine, and it turns out that one guy has a single nucleotide polymorphism that pathologically upregulates ion channels in his brain that causes extreme brain swelling, and the other guy doesn't, and that target is druggable, all of a sudden we're starting to look like oncology more than our old selves in trauma. And so if we can then rapidly identify some of those disease heterogeneity signals that allow us to provide precision medical treatments, or alternatively, if we can define those on the front end such that, you know what, you shouldn't jump out of an airplane, ever. Because if you hit your head at all, you're going to be in a coma. Well, that's good information to know. Because you can also exercise primary prevention based upon precision medical insight. And so I think those are the kinds of things that are the most exciting to me right now, is that we can, because at the end of every publication, it's always some promissory note that's written that says, oh, we need to understand the disease heterogeneity and more research needs to be done to elucidate this, blah, 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 blah. And we need to start to, pay on that promissory note and say, you know what, we need to deliver on those things like our colleagues in oncology have so effectively done.